96.5 The Fox, the new evolution of classic rock, free beer, hot wings every weekday morning. And I'll tell you what, when we announced this show a few months ago, I got so excited that Alice in Chains was coming to Bismarck, and now we're just a little over a week away. Alice in Chains with special guest Monster Truck at the Bismarck Civic Center Friday, August 15th, and joined on the phone by a drummer I've listened to for many, many years, Sean Kinney of Alice in Chains. Sean, how's it going?
Good. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. Ready for the show here in a week or so. And your band actually formed nearly 30 years ago in Washington. As you approach your 30th anniversary, how does it feel that the band has been able to stay relevant all these years?
I have no idea. I mean, we're just coming to Bismarck for the free beer and wings that you just talked about. I mean, I think it has to do with other people. I mean, a record company and whatnot. And at the beginning, when you're all shiny and new and nobody's heard something exactly like what you're doing for a bit, that makes an impact. But I think it's just, the music takes on a life of its own. People keep passing it on. They keep the same way. My sister turned me on to Led Zeppelin, and Black Sabbath when I was listening to K-Tel records when I was a kid. She's like, "Oh, you like rock? You should check this out." It's just, I think that's kind of how it happens. It has very little to do about the machine and the time and place, and you'd hope it has to do that your songs aren't so horrible that people still want to hear them.
What do you think it is about Alice in Chains in particular that has kept people going out and buying your records? I mean, your latest album debuted at number 2. People are still attending the shows. I mean, you're still opening up shows for Metallica and Black Sabbath. What is it about your band in particular that kind of kept you out there when so many bands in the past 25 to 30 years have stopped playing, have stopped doing shows, stopped recording?
I don't know. I mean, we're still passionate about what we do. We still write music that we like, and apparently there's still some people that still like it. So we kind of just operate that way. We do what we like and make the records we like. We've always done that, and then there's people that pay attention to it, and they dig it enough, that we get to travel around and play some songs. It doesn't work for everybody, I guess, and it's really hard to do that in this business nowadays. It's really hard to keep a band going. We keep with it. We keep at it and try to be the best we are. We try to play the best we can every night, and do our end the best. Do our end to our highest ability, and let the rest fall into place.
Do you think it's possible in this day and age that a band could become as successful as Alice in Chains is now with, you've got Pandora, you've got iTunes, you've got everything has changed since you guys started. Do you think it's possible for bands to still build a fan base like you guys have done over the years?
Yeah, I'd hope so, but I think it's going to be really hard because everybody wants it now, and they don't have to do anything to get music, right? So it kind of devalues music. You don't go and get it and then wait for it and bring it home, and you don't listen to albums. As many people don't listen to albums in their entirety. They cherry pick stuff, and when you don't put anything into getting something, then it doesn't have much of a value. If Rolls-Royce cars were free, the freeways would be littered with them when they run out of gas. Or you'd like, "Oh, I don't want that when it's blue." You wouldn't care that it took 3 guys 10 months to hand make the car and put all their love and care into it. You just feel, "I don't like blue, and that one ran out of gas. I'm going to get another one." And on a bigger scale, it is what it is, but it's just sad because music is so important to so many people and such a huge part of the world and how we connect and what brings people together. And when you put a value of 0 on that, I'm more afraid of what the future will be of that. Now you devalued such a important art form and part of everybody's life, and you're just going to make it, it's nothing. It's free, It's not. So I would hope that people would stick with bands, but when you put nothing into going to support a band, they can't financially continue to be supported because they're not being supported financially. It costs money to go places and make music and stuff. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. My fear is like when big rock bands that can still go to an arena and play that show, and Metallica and stuff like that, decide to not do it anymore. Who will take their place? And is there anybody that can? And right now, I'm not feeling super positive that anybody can, and then that could go missing for generations of people. Those things that we love. Get some weed and go to the show and with your buddy. It's like that whole experience can be lost. It's like the experience of listening to an entire album is an experience. You kind of go through the whole thing, and now it's just those kind of how you experience music is being sort of reshaped. And hopefully something will shake up, you know. I know people are starting to buy vinyl now because it's cool, and that's cool. I mean, you can only get, 30 minutes of music on a side of an album, and you actually have to put it on, and you have to get up and turn it over. I mean, you're really interacting with it instead of just downloading and cherry-picking stuff. So.
How do you feel that people can go cherry-pick songs? I mean, you spend all this time crafting and writing and recording this album of songs, and then somebody can go, well, I dig this one, too, and I'm going to buy this, and that's it.
Well, that's the way it is, so I don't really put any energy into that. That's just how it is, and they can do that, you know. And then you have these Spotifys and Pandoras where you get access to almost every piece of recorded music on the planet, and then that's great as a consumer, but for every person who's ever recorded music, it's a rip-off. Oops, I swore on the radio. Because, you know, I think I hear people are starting to post their checks, you know, like you get 10 million plays of your song and you get a check for $111, you know. It's a weird time we live in, you know. It's a real balancing act. And so basically you'd hope that you have an audience and you can tour, you know. That's try to break even or maybe make a little bit to make a living on tour. You know, but it costs a lot. Gas prices aren't lower and instruments aren't lower and, you know, you know, don't cost less. Last I checked, I think CDs and stuff like that cost the same or less than they used to. So I don't know. I really don't know how to you know, deal with that. It is what it is, you know, and we just go about it by doing what we want and play music and stuff. And if it comes to a time when we can't afford to get to places, and we do, we invest to go to a lot of places. We're not leaving there with a briefcase of dough. It costs, you know. And if it comes to the time where we can't do that, then we just won't be able to do it.
We mentioned it a few minutes ago. Your fifth album, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here, released a little over a year ago. After all these years, has the recording process changed at all with Alice in Chains?
Yeah, we still go in and old school and do everything, big expensive studios, and spend a lot of money and a lot of time beating ourselves to death, trying to achieve what we think we need to do. And yeah, making albums is just so different than live. You know, essentially you get together, you make music with your friends, and it's right there and it's happening right now. And making albums, you get to sit back and everything's so mic'd up and in a sterile environment. It's a really cool environment. It's also really like, oh, you know, your suck factor is just really high. You know, it's like, ooh, that one hit is wrong. You know, and we don't really rely on the technology as much to fix those things because we're kind of old school. So we still play everything. You know, we still go in and play the songs all the way through, and you know, fix a little thing here and there. But it's it's very interesting process. If you do it a lot, then you get conditioned to it. But when you do it every several years, it's kind of a reset button, and you get in there, and it's like, oh, whoa. Excitement wears off pretty fast by about the first couple weeks, and then you're just locked up in a windowless cave trying to make your music.
Yourself, Jerry Cantrell, and Mike Inez have recorded quite a bit together over the years, but this is only your second record with William Duvall. What does he bring to the table when you guys go and record these new songs?
He brings himself, you know. That's all we asked of him, and what he brings works with the band, you know. So, you know, that's all you could kind of do. You know, we've always been a two-vocal band, and that's the harmonies and everything have been is a big part of the sound of the band. So that's how it kind of works. And he's a very talented guy, and he comes and brings his all and has his own unique way of doing things. You know, that's what you want from people. We're not looking. You can't replace humans. You know, people aren't replaceable. So the band's a little different, but the core is the same, and so the sound stays is primarily intact because the core unit of it's kind of there, you know. And Jerry's been the major writing force and throughout the whole career. So, and he's always sang on everything. So it's kind of, you know, we needed that another member, and Will fit the bill, you know. Will fit the bill. You see what I did there?
That was nice. I like that.
I'm going to make a T-shirt and sell it, bootleg a T-shirt on tour.
That's how you make the money now.
That's how I'm going to be able to pay for one of my 19 vacation homes. My Monaco place, by ripping off Will Duvall on the Will Fits the Bill bootleg tee that'll be there in Bismarck on the whatever day that we're playing there.
I'll make sure.
In the parking lot by the blue van.
That's terrifying.
Why?
I don't know. It just sounds like that's something that I wouldn't want to do, is go buy a shirt that says Will Fits the Bill at a blue van in a parking lot.
Yeah, you would. If it was full of beer or some hot chicks or some weed, you would.
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's there too.
because that's cool, but then what you're trying to say is my whole will fit the bill thing stupid? Is that what
No, I think it's good. I think you should go with
this
it.
This interview's short.
No, let's not do that. It's a
who
great...
you're talking to. I am in a band that started like in the 90s, so I'm kind of a big deal in certain circles. Probably, if I had a Facebook page, I'd probably have like some likes.
At least a few, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one, but I bet you there would be like 9 or 10 people that like me and give me a thumbs up or whatever you do on there. And
imagine how many more you'd have if you start this Will Fits the Bill thing.
Look, man, that's just the way it's going to be. A man needs to eat, and I need to supplement my income. And if it's, ripping off Will Duvall at this point in Bismarck, so be it.
Speaking of making your money, you guys just wrapped up a few shows overseas. You played with Metallica, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. What is it like playing shows over there for those huge, massive crowds?
Oh, yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, it doesn't suck, but those big shows, you get asked that all the time over your career. It's like, which ones do you like best? It's all different. Those big, huge shows are cool. There's a lot of people there. But, they're further away. The stage is higher. It's a little bit more of a disconnect. There's a lot of good energy because there's, 80,000 people or whatever. But, for me, playing drums, it looks like a pizza topping. It looks like olives and stuff. There's not really any personal connection with an audience. And then, like, some of the more intimate venues are cooler because you can actually, see some people and you can kind of... It's really just, either or. But it's a great thing, it's a cool thing. And to see a band like Metallica, who's been at it these years and such good friends, and the power they wield, I love the fact, like, when people try to say, especially in the States, rock is dead, they've said that since the 50s, since it started, right? And, I think maybe it just moved back in with its parents because the economy sucks. And when you play with, like, a Metallica over there, and there's 60,000 people, and from the get-go, every arm's in the air, and there's very, very few bands that can wield that kind of power. It's like you're super happy for them and super happy for music and rock and everything, and then it's also humbling, and then you're kind of mad at them. It's a weird feeling. Like, we don't get that as much. And then it's like, oh, yeah, they're greatest. But they earned it. Those guys have worked their asses off, and they continue to. And that's where they are today. They're there from. They didn't get lucky.
And Alice in Chains continues to work their ass off as well. You've had this record out for over a year now, and it's my understanding that this last string of dates with Monster Truck is kind of going to be it for this album cycle. What is the plan once this tour wraps up?
Well, I mean, we usually don't tour in the winter. I mean, unless it's summer somewhere. So last year we went and did Australia and all those places where it's summer when it's winter here. So we're not going to really do that again this year. And, let's take the time off, take the holidays off, and get away from this and just kind of live our lives and see what's going on. I mean, none of us have really been chasing the fame or the celebrity, so we don't really live those kind of lifestyles where you got to be treated different because you play music or something. So we just go back and live our lives, and we'll probably start throwing around ideas for tunes, and we'll tour again probably next year, a little bit here and there. We're just gonna. At this point, we take things one thing at a time. I mean, in this business, you got to book, you got to plan stuff, half a year in advance, 4 months in advance. Right now, we just stay focused on this. We're going to do this run, and then take the holidays off, the winter. You don't want to fly in planes and go to Russia and drive around and, on icy roads. We've done it many times. It's not a high on our list anymore of things to do.
And on this upcoming string of dates, you're actually taking a relatively unknown band from Canada out with you, the band Monster Truck.
Relatively unknown. They had, like, #1 songs up there, man.
Oh, in Canada, yeah. Here, they're not relatively well-known here in the States. And you're taking them out, and you've taken them out on the road with you a few times now. What keeps you taking Monster Truck back out with you?
We like them, and we like bands like the Walking Papers. And when you like a band and you like their music, and especially in this day and age, when it's so hard for a new band to get any exposure and get any traction on anything and people to pay attention to them, we like to take bands that we like their music and that they're really good live rock bands that have all the elements that make us excited about and why we play music. And when you run across them, we like to take them out. And in this particular situation, we can do that. Selling the tickets, relies on us, So in a lot of these venues and stuff, we should be able to do okay enough that we can afford to take a band that we dig instead of, and hopefully people get turned on to them. They're a great band. If you see them, it'll be like, wow, that's a great band, you know?
They are a great band, and I know they've had trouble kind of getting footing here in the States as they've done tours opening up for smaller bands. They've really had difficulty. Having talked with Jeremy, they've had difficulty really getting their footing here. How important is it for you? Your band has been out on the road now for nearly 30 years. How important is it for you guys to be able to take some of these bands out with you and kind of show them the ropes and get them in front of big crowds?
Yeah, it's kind of what we've always done, and that's how we look at it. That's how we got where we're at and where we've been, and we still do. I mean, we're not Metallica. We'll play right before them. Nobody plays after Metallica. So we're still those guys. You know what I'm saying? We're still those guys. We can go and do the shows on our own and do all that. But you just keep paying it forward. Like I said, this is a band that we think is a great live rock band that are good guys that work hard, and they're real. They're authentic. It's not a shtick, and it's not a bunch of computers and Pro Tools playing for them while they jump around and act like they're musicians, So it's like we take them out, and hopefully the people that come to see us might dig them and check them out, and that's how a band have that career that you're talking about. Financially, the greatest idea to take a band that probably isn't really bringing a lot of people to the show, probably not. But these shows aren't big, huge stadiums that you need. Hopefully some people will show up and they'll dig it.
It's going to be a great show. Coming up Friday night, August 15th, Alice in Chains with special guest Monster Truck, joined on the phone by Sean Kinney from Alice in Chains. And earlier this year, Nirvana became kind of the first band from the grunge era to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You guys will be eligible coming up next year. What would it mean to Alice in Chains to kind of get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I mean, I never really thought about it. I don't think that most people get into being in the band to win a statues and stuff, but it's nice if they recognize it. It's always nice when people pay attention to your work and give it a little nod and stuff. I don't know if they have no say on that. I really don't understand what it is. It's a small cabal of little dudes that decide who's cool or something. So, but having friends do it and finally getting in a year or so ago, and the Nirvana and guys and all this, and having other people I know that get in there, GNR and stuff, they all kind of feel the same way, but then I think when they do the experience, it really kind of, sums up something for them, So I think it's cool, if they ever invited us to do it and wanted to give us a trinket and tell us we're attaboy, good work dudes, then we'd show up and play or whatever, I guess. And if not, I'll just go on living, I mean, I'll be just fine without it.
And if you don't make it, you've got this backup plan, Will Fits the Bill, shirts to sell.
That's a short-term thing, and I think I screwed it up by saying it on the phone. So I probably that's not going to pan out as well as I was hoping. I should have been a little more stealth with ripping off Will, but, what do I know? I'm just a dumb drummer from Seattle, right?
There you go. I feel bad for anybody that drives a blue van to the show coming up next week, just hanging out in the parking lot.
And they have these festivals, and there's 80,000 people, and they camp out there for days on end. And some people get to you and they're like, "Hey man, you want to party? Meet me at the blue tent." And you look out and there's just like 70,000 blue tents. It's like, oh yeah, I'll totally come hunt you down. So everybody keep an eye out for blue vans, and if you can find me in one of them, then you'll win chlamydia.
Oh, perfect.
Which is, you can get rid of that.
I would say it's curable, so I mean that's nice of you.
I got to get it before I go there now. So now I just screwed up and set myself up for that. God, I'm not good at this phone interview stuff.
That's all right. I mean, you've been doing it for a while. You'd think you would have got better.
My third one. My third one. How's it going? Is it going okay?
I think we've done well, yeah. It's been, 20 or so minutes. We've covered...
This is like my third one, and I do one every decade.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, we've covered chlamydia. We've covered bootleg T-shirts. I think we've got, the gamut of things to cover done.
Yeah. Is there anything else you need to touch on,
No, I don't think so. I think we've got it. Show coming up next week, Friday night, Alice in Chains, Bismarck Civic Center with special guest Monster Truck. You got to get your tickets. You got to be there. And who knows, maybe you'll run into Sean Kinney in the parking lot.
Blue van,
chlamydia T-shirts.
Sweet combo.
Sean, thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute honor.
All right, man. Thanks.